I'm so happy to be here talking to you today about Kambo. I love Kambo, and you're a master practitioner, and I've been seeing you for several years now. You, it's changed my world. And so I'm so excited to get to talk to you today to find out a little bit more about the practice and the ceremonies, and so excited to hear your thoughts on it.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm really excited to be here. This has been quite a journey since I met you and your husband as well. And it's been really lovely seeing your journey with Kambo and how there has been many changes for the good in your life. So I'm happy to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, really, Kambo has been a big part of on my healing journey. It's something that I go back to. Some things you try on recommendations from others, and then you try it once and it may have helped. But Kambo has been something that I've been doing pretty consistently several times a year for the last few years now. That has really helped my healing process. It's expedited that. I really want to kind of get in more about kind of my personal journey. But before we do that, I think it'd be really important for people to understand what is Kambo? What can it do for you? And how did it come? How did you find it? How did we get here? For you in Phoenix and in Scottsdale, Arizona, to be lucky enough to have a global master practitioner. We're very lucky
Yeah,
there.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to start first by talking a little bit about what's Kambo. Kambo is basically, we refer to the name of Kambo to the secretion that the Philomedusa bicolor frog, that is also known as the giant tree monkey frog, is producing. The frog produces a secretion in her body, and indigenous people for many years, for thousands of years, they have been basically grabbing the secretion from the frog without harming the frog. And what they do is they dry the secretion in some sticks that we call them Kambo sticks. And with that, basically the practitioners that we learn from the indigenous people, what they do is basically we open small superficial burns that we call them gates in the skin, and we apply the secretion. The after effects of Kambo is that it releases toxins, and at the same time it helps with improving your own immune system.
Mhm.
So at the same time, we have been observing as well, as you may have experienced already, that after Kambo, you don't not only get the physical benefits of that, but also you feel really peaceful, really calm, centered, grounded. It's like if you were having a really heavy weight on your shoulders and suddenly that is lifted and suddenly you say, oh my God, I feel grounded, I feel light, I feel happy, I feel peaceful. And besides, the tribes have been doing this for many years. There are many tribes in Brazil and Peru that they use Kambo as their main medicine. And it's very important to clarify with you that when we call them medicine, is not in the context of the Western medicine. When we call Kambo a medicine, is under the context of the plant medicine world. Big why? Because for the Amazonians, for them is their medicine. That's what they use when they get malaria, when they get some snake bites or any other illnesses. They use that. And there has been many tribes using that. For instance, the Caxinawa in Brazil, the Catuquina, the Yawanagua, and then we have the Mayoruna, the Matses in Peru. For them, that's the only medicine that they use. Of course, they have many plant medicines, but that they call it they say that that's their medicine. And what happened is that Kambo was first observed by a French missionary in the 1900s, that he was visiting the Caxiguana tribe in Brazil. and he observed Kambo, and he's the first one in writing that he observed the use of Kambo, and then after that there has been other people. And what happened is that in history, when the rubber workers start going to from the cities of Brazil to work into the jungle for months at a time, is really funny because they were basically living with the tribes and they were seeing how they were using Kambo, and they started receiving Kambo from the tribes, and basically they learned how to do it. And when they were heading back to their cities to visit their families, they were bringing Kambo with them, and they started treating or giving Kambo sessions to their own families and friends and people, and basically those were the first Kambo practitioners. Mm-hmm. And after that, it starts basically going from the cities in Brazil into the world. It's funny to say that there are many tribes in Brazil and Peru that they claim that they are the right owners of Kambo or the right guys that discover, but we will never know. I mean, something that is right there. The beautiful thing is that nowadays is into the Western cultures like here, in which people can get the benefits of Kambo, and at the same time there has been many people interested in learning and becoming Kambo practitioners.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for that. There's when you talk about plant medicine, I think a lot of people think of things like ayahuasca and other things, but Kambo doesn't have any psychoactive properties to it. You're not gonna, or I've never hallucinated or had any of those types of experiences. Do you get much of that, or does it have any properties that would be?
Well, Kambo basically contained peptides. It was already, the secretion was already basically tested and analyzed. And there's only peptides on Kambo, and there's no psychoactives on Kambo. So it's not, there's this misconception that people say, oh, it's a plant medicine. First of all, it's not a plant. It comes from a beautiful animal that is a frog. And for the other part is that it doesn't have any psychoactive, so people are not going to get that trip or get high with Kambo. It doesn't work like that.
I think it's important for them to know that Kambo, you will feel lighter, or I definitely have experienced that. And for people like me that have maybe a lot more anxiety, I'm kind of always at, my resting state is a good 8 or 7.5 at least. So I'm pretty kind of high energy. And that is one of my favorite things about Kambo, is that not only do I really feel healthier, and it sparks my discipline. Like, it kind of gets me back into routine. It resets me when I've kind of gotten maybe off course, and I'm more likely to get to yoga or go to the gym right after I do Kambo. But it's really the whole ceremony, I think, that really kind of helps me. There's different parts of it, and so if you wouldn't mind kind of going through what the kind of ceremony entails.
Yes, of course. Basically, first of all, Kambo is, there are some tribes in which they use Kambo, and for them is not a ceremony. Basically, they just open the gates, and by opening the gates, what I mean is they burn. You have to burn some small superficial gates in your skin.
You can see mine.
Into your skin. Yeah. And they just apply the Kambo, and they just leave the person who is receiving Kambo. They leave the person over there, and they leave them alone. And for them, it's not a ceremony. And on a funny or interesting thing is that the first 3 or 4 times that I received Kambo, it was like that. It was not a ceremony setting. It was just somebody put the Kambo, burn me, put the Kambo, and then they left me alone. And what is important is for me and for many practitioners, and especially in our association where I belong, is the fact that it's a ceremony. And what is a ceremony? A ceremony is a sacred space in which you are going to be experiencing a really close encounter with the spirit of the frog. And that's sacred because it's a journey between you and the spirit of the frog. The practitioner is not a shaman. The practitioner is over there just to make sure that you are safe and to hold space for you. What is holding space is being with you, going along, going together in the journey, but also without judging, and at the same time empowering you, because you can do it. And it's a place in which the person receiving Kambo, as you experienced before, experience a lot of vulnerability. Why? Because you are basically at certain moments in the ceremony, and I don't want to sugarcoat it here, but you may feel really bad, physically really bad. Yeah. And in that moment is when you need understanding, when you need someone to watch over you, and someone as well who is empowering you in basically with the demeanor and with the energy, saying, you can do it. Yeah. So basically, for us is a ceremony because it's a sacred moment in which you are going to be receiving a lot of healing, if you want to call it. What I refer to healing is that the frog is reconnecting to your own immune system and is reconnecting to your own soul. Because in my experience, what I have seen with many clients is not only helps to boost your immune system and of course getting healthier, but at the same time it helps you release a lot of anxiety, depression, a lot of trauma, a lot of energies, a lot of is something really, really, really beautiful. So what is important is the setting and who is giving you Kambo. Of course, there are many things that we can talk about it. There's, of course, contraindications before one sets an appointment with a practitioner to get Kambo. It's important to make sure that the practitioner is someone who has experience, and not only experience, who has knowledge about the contraindications, about the warnings, about everything, so they know if the person who wants Kambo is an ideal candidate, because not everyone is good to take Kambo, not everyone is able to take Kambo because there are many risks. And once someone knows that they want to do Kambo, basically I would recommend is to interview the practitioner and ask questions, and if there's something that some red flags that I don't know about this person, it's better to say no. Yeah. And so when someone comes to receive Kambo, you were asking how the ceremony is. Basically, what I do is as soon as they arrive, we open the circle of the ceremony first by smudging, and then we sit down and we open with an intention or prayer, if you want to call it like that, and then the person shares their intentions. After that, usually in the past, what I was doing is I was offering a little bit of sananga, that are some eye drops from the Amazon forest, and some rapé. But lately, what I've been observing is that with those, offering those before Kambo, they could take the client in a total different journey. And the main journey when the client is going for Kambo is Kambo. Yeah. And yes, we can offer rapid during a Kambo ceremony, but that has its own time to offer it. And usually we offer them when we want to help the client to move a perch. Yeah, and they cannot move the perch, they are having difficulties, we offer that. And nowadays what we are doing is we offer the sananga after the Kambo session. That being said, as I was saying before, I was offering sananga and rapé before Kambo and then the Kambo. And now I'm not doing that. We go directly to Kambo, and then in the end I offer the one sananga and rapé. What happened in a Kambo session? First of all, the Kambo is going to be on, as you recall, in your system, in your body, in your skin. Is going to be there more or less 20 minutes. It could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit more. And as soon as right before I apply the points, we call them points to the tiny dots of Kambo, the client starts drinking water. It's also pretty important to know that water is one of the most important things for Kambo. The practitioner must to know exactly how much water the client has been taking, because that's one of the most dangerous things that could be overlooked during a Kambo ceremony. Water guidelines are the most important thing for Kambo for safety. So while the client starts drinking water, the practitioner opens the gates, the small superficial burns, and they start preparing the Kambo points. They are tiny balls of Kambo that they are compared to wasabi in the consistency. It's like sticky, gooey, tiny whitish dots. And then those points are applying in the skin. As soon as those points are applying in the skin, one starts feeling like a burning sensation, like itching, like if it's like it's basically, yeah, it's burning sensation. And then after that is usually people experience a little bit of heat in the body. Maybe the heart rate will go to start going up, and you may feel the palpitations of the heart beating fast. You may feel like a buzzing sensation going up and down your body. We like to believe that is the Kambo basically scanning your body. And many times that buzzing sensation stops in some part of your body. It could be your stomach, your head, your hand. We never know. Many people report that, oh, I was feeling it in my head, or I was feeling it in my back. We never know, but that's normal. So those symptoms are going to going up, and you are going to may start feeling nauseated, may start feeling dizzy, may start feeling cramping, like passing out, and those symptoms could increase really, really strong, to a point in which someone would feel really physically challenged. Yeah, really physically challenged. And it's important to remember your intention, and that's also part of why the practitioner has to have experience and to be attuned with the spirit of the frog, and also having a connection with the client, so you can reassure that all is okay. Yeah.
That is, I have found that to be extremely important, having received Kambo in different settings from different people. The practitioner really does make so much of the difference, because you are in a vulnerable position. Yes. During that time. It's the beauty for me of Kambo is actually that it really doesn't take that long. It is around the 20 minutes. The whole thing typically, I think, is only about an hour or so. So it's short in that, but it's very intense. And so those times of vulnerability, having someone like you who's a master practitioner, that is so important. And so what you were saying about kind of interviewing the person, and if you have any concerns or if you have any health conditions, I could see that being really, really important, because you are vulnerable in those times. Yes. And you need to feel secure that the person has the adequate training. But when they do, like you do, there's a real safety in the vulnerability, which I think is also part of the healing process. For me, each piece has had a different kind of helped me in different ways, but being vulnerable is not something that I'm particularly comfortable with, like many people, right? You want to stay in control, and so being able to have a safe space to be vulnerable, to heal, and you're getting sick, right? You're throwing up, you're going, or you're shaking or crying or something where the purge is coming on. That's vulnerable. And so it's such a great gift and a help to be able to feel safe in that vulnerability is kind of an added benefit with the right practitioner, I think.
Yes, I think you are bringing up a pretty important point. I believe that vulnerability is linked to surrendering. Yeah, and what I have experienced, even myself, when I
Mhm.
receive Kambo, is we have the tendency of trying to fight it when we're experiencing something that we don't like,
Mhm.
whether in our mind, body, spirit, we fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
I'm the first one in fighting it. So when we experience all those symptoms that could be, as you remember,
Mhm.
really strong,
Mhm.
we have the tendency of fighting it. I don't want to feel like that. I want
Mhm.
it to be done. And what I have seen is that Kambo, the spirit of the frog, doesn't want to be controlled.
Mhm.
And it's important to arrive to a moment, and I think we all arrive to a moment during the process of Kambo that you basically give up and say, you know, I give up, I surrender, I let
Mhm.
go. I don't care what's going to happen. I don't care how bad it is.
Mhm.
And that's a really beautiful point because it's when you are basically giving up
Mhm.
your ego and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful moment because is when the all the benefits of Kambo
Mhm.
come in mind, body, and spirit.
It really is a beautiful thing, and you can feel it. You know when you've kind of given up or you've stopped fighting it. The Sananga for me, when it was being given prior to receiving Kambo, really also helped me with that lesson. Saying it only lasts about a minute. The Sananga are the eye drops, and but they burn very intensely, and but only for a minute. And you say that it's only going to be for a minute, but the first time when I experienced it was like, if you just relax into it, you're going to be okay. But I fought my eyes like as if I was going to outrun this. Like I physically wanted to run away from the pain. And it was such a harder experience for me than when I did it the second time and relaxed into it and just kind of knew what was coming and accepted it. It hurt a lot less and it opened me a lot more. It was such in an immediate distinction because your body had felt that difference. So people can tell you, you know, what, don't resist, that it will be better for you if you just kind of accept. We have this life lesson in so many ways, right? It's like on bumper stickers and memes about how to just kind of let things go. But when you feel that in your body very physically, and you can feel the difference between what it feels like to fight the same thing and what it feels like to relax, and what that does to your body and how much better you feel when you stop fighting it, then it just I was able to take that lesson with me in such a different way. So between the both, it really, that mind body spirit connection is so much stronger for me with Kambo than I'm a yoga practitioner, and there's beauty in all of the things. But Kambo I have found to be really, really allows you within 20 minutes basically to connect completely if you allow that.
Yes, you were talking about something really important about Sananga. First of all, Sananga comes from a tree in the Amazon forest. We can find that in Peru, in Brazil, and many parts. And is this liquid that we use as an eye drops. And Sananga help us with, first of all, cleansing our mind, body, and spirit from energies that are not ours. And also helps with the third eye, to open the third eye. Also, it has been shown that it can help improve many vision conditions, eye conditions. However, we have been seeing that there's also some contraindications to take Sananga, and that's why we are not using or giving clients Sananga before the Kambo session. We usually do that after Kambo. There's this belief that the more pain and the stronger the Sananga, the better, that if it doesn't hurt, it is not working. And that's a misconception. I have experienced Sanangas that are really basically weak or light in potency, and they have the same benefits. I mean, you can get the same benefits.
That
That's
sounds amazing.
yeah, yeah, it is, it is, it is. There are several other tools that we use during a Kambo ceremony in order to help the client in their process with Kambo. One of them is sage. We use the sage, for instance, so that the person, we can help the person to move a purge. We can use Palo Santo as well. We can use, some of us use tobacco during the ceremony. And Sananga and Rapé can be used as well. Rapé can be used during Kambo to help the client to move a perch. There are many ways that we can use all these beautiful medicines. However, the most important thing is to remember that when someone comes to have Kambo is the main medicine and the main ceremony. And the others basically, yeah, you can use them, and some of them are really, really good to aid the process, but are not the main scope of that. And on a side note, before I finish with this comment, is that what I do believe is that all these medicines like Kambo, like ayahuasca, or plant medicines or whatever, uh, all of those are just tools that help us to reconnect to our own heart, to our own true self, to our higher self. Because the great masters and ascended masters throughout millennia, they have basically show us that all the answers that we are looking for are inside us. All the healing that we're looking for is inside us. All the miracles that we're looking for are inside us.
And you feel that after you receive it. I've always felt better every time, physically especially, but really, like I said, mentally, emotionally, just felt so much lighter. But the last experience that I had with Rape kind of finishing the purge was really, I just wept, and I've never quite had that experience with Kambo prior. It's like everything just kind of broke away. So can you explain a little bit about what Rape is, if people don't know that, and how that might help the purge?
Yes, Rape is basically, or hape, is a powder that many tribes and medicine women and medicine men in the jungle, and not only in the jungle, there's many people that they prepare, or shamans, they prepare the rape. Basically, it's a powder, a really fine powder that consists of wild tobacco, or mapacho. They call it mapacho in Peru, to the tobacco. And it has also wood ash. Basically, what they do is they burn some specific woods and they grab the ashes, but they grab only the ash that is gray, the ash that it has bits of black grains or whatever they discard. They just grab the grape ash and they mix that. And they mix it with different plants, with different tree barks. Every shaman, every tribe, every person who prepares rape has their own recipe. And all rape is different. And some rapes are stronger, some other rapes are lighter. There are some rapes that they don't contain tobacco. There are some beautiful rapes that they are made only by women in Brazil, and those are really lovely rapes. And rape is administered with a pipe, and that pipe is called tepi. One part of the rape is put on the extreme of the pipe and is offered to the person who is going to receive the rape, and the person who is receiving the rape put the extreme of the pipe in the nostril, and the other person passing the rape blows. And in the beginning it feels like needles. It's a weird sensation, but right away it starts to take effect. Yes. I want to clarify two things. We use rape with two intentions. One intention of the rape, or one way we use rape, is to help the person ground and center. That is important to the person giving the rape as well, to take that into consideration, because if I'm going to pass your rape, yeah, and my energy is going to your being through my breath. Yeah. So if I'm not grounded, I'm going to be passing you all my, basically my energy that is not settled and is not grounded. And then the person giving you the rapid, they have to know what type of rapids they are using as well. If it's a strong rapid, you don't want to use a really strong rapid, and especially giving a really strong blow. If you want somebody to be grounded, or their scope is to ground and center, you are not going to blast them with their strongest pass and with the strongest rapid, because the opposite is going to happen. The person is going to start vomiting. Yeah. And that's the other scope of rapid during Kambo, when someone is going through the process of purging. And by purging in Kambo, most people vomit, as you have the experience. But it's pretty important for the person who is receiving Kambo not to chase the vomit. Not because everybody vomits, you have to vomit. It's very important to have that into consideration. There are many ways of purging. You can cry, you can shake, you can sweat, you can poop, you can even faint. That's normal. I have fainted during Kambo, and that's a way of purging. But when someone is trying to vomit and they feel the nausea and they cannot vomit and they are stuck in that, that's when we use rapid. And at that time, that's when the practitioner, is important for the practitioner to give a strong rapid and with a really with the intention of moving that energy. And that's maybe what you experienced, that you needed to move that energy, and you received that. And besides, when receiving rapid at that time in which the intention in the ceremony with the Kambo is to move that energy, the rap is not going to feel nice. It's going to feel really awful. And right away the vomit comes. On the contrary, when in ceremony, for instance, after Kambo, or even in a rapid ceremony, or while sitting with another person just to get rapid, and the intention is to ground and to center, it's a really beautiful tool. I mean, right away, as soon as you receive it, your thoughts stop, your mind goes pitch black, and you are just fully present with your own awareness, with your own soul. And physically, you also feel like some sensations in your body, like peace and groundiness, and just feeling awesome.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I really am I've had wonderful experiences, and as somebody who kind of runs a high anxiety, high energy, element wise, I'm all kind of air and fire, and so that grounding is something that I really have to kind of work towards, like to be more balanced, and so that experience with rape has been very helpful, and that experience with the purge, because having done that, where the rape kind of finished the purge, having done Kambo kind of quite a bit at this point, I can kind of feel when it's done. Even if the 20 minutes isn't up, you kind of feel like it's done its work, and the heat goes down, because as you were talking, the experience for me has been very similar. It gets hot all over. It does kind of feel like it's scanning you, and then it kind of starts, and it's been different depending on where the points have been on me. The experience has been very, very different, but you can kind of feel when the medicine is done. It's done its job. It's gotten that out. And at that particular time, I could feel that it had not, and it for whatever reason, there was just kind of a really deep block that then was able to purge. And the feeling of that kind of really felt important to that energetic block, whatever it was that was there, because it really kind of stayed with me for weeks of feeling so much lighter and so much better, so much more creative, so much more kind of in tune. Again, I know we keep coming back to the beauty and the importance of kind of finding the right practitioner if you're interested in trying this, because that does make all the difference. Somebody that knows what it is you're going to need, especially if you don't know That's
Yes.
what that is. So somebody is looking to try it for the first time and they're not lucky enough to be in Arizona with us. What should they do? How could they find somebody that it maybe would be more trusted, and what should they ask?
Well, what I could tell you about it is that if someone is interested in finding a practitioner, they can visit the International Association of Kambo Practitioners, IAKP.org, and they can go to the find a practitioner, and they can scroll down and put the city or the country or whatever, and they can find the closest practitioner. What I do know is that I belong to this institution for several years now, and right now I'm a teacher of the association. I train other people to become Kambo practitioners, so I do know that the training that we offer, we are basically making sure that the practitioners that we train are solid, and they are good in what they are doing, and they are up to date in their training, in their knowledge, in their experience, and basically that's a really good source to go and find someone who is close to them. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you think people should just know about Kambo or any of the things we talked
Yeah,
about?
is very good. What I would like to finish this conversation with is that if anyone is called to experience Kambo or have heard or about Kambo, is important to feel the heart, to
Mhm.
feel your heart and your intuition. Nobody needs to convince you. I in all this time that I've been practicing, I don't convince anyone,
Mhm.
no one, because
Yeah.
it's a really personal call. For I do believe that is the spirit of the frog calling
Mhm.
a person to receive Kambo, and it's very important that you are sure in your intuition, in your heart, that you want to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great advice. And it's great advice to never do anything that you don't feel right
Of course,
about doing.
yeah,
Because maybe you will later on, but listen to
yeah.
yourself always. Such great advice.